that smiles at us all. All a man can do is smile back. You see, I'm making this video as a reminder of that because I think everyone should keep this in mind every single day, that one day we're all going to die. And it could be even today. And you see, the interesting thing is that when we're considering our non-existence, the very fact that we are seems odd. I mean, isn't this crazy that we are here, we are alive, we're conscious? I mean, sometimes you can so easily overlook this very simple fact, but at the same time, very crazy fact that we are alive. It's just as crazy as we are, as the fact that we're going to die. I mean, we're thinking about, oh, you see, going to sleep and never waking up. But isn't it interesting that you never went to sleep and you woke up? That you were born in the first place? And I had one of these hard-hitting reminders recently. You see, not so long ago, one of my friends passed away and he was just 20 years old. And you see, he was a great friend of mine. You see, in high school, we were probably best friends, I would say. One of my best friends. And in university, we didn't talk as much, but man, we did a lot of stupid shit together. We had a great time together. I remember in school, we did a bunch of stupid shit. We played a lot. We had a great time together, on school trips. We even went to Berlin together, you see, on a school trip, and we had a great time. He was a great friend of mine, so it came as a shock to me, you see, that he passed away. It all came out of nowhere, really. Like, all within a month, he was just dead. It was very, very sad, you see. And it really reminded me that everyone could go at any time. That I could have been in his place. I could have died just that easily. And also, it made me appreciate more the people that I have around me, the time that I had. It made me grateful for every single day. You see, when one of these things happen, it hits you even deeper, even if you know all of this stuff. Even if, you can relate if you had a similar experience. Even if you know, I'm going to die one day and all of that. When one of these things happen, it just hits you deep, you see, that, that is coming. You see, this life is not forever and all of that. So you see, I wanted to turn this into a gift and also share this reminder with you also. That we're all going to die, that we're mortal. This idea of Memento Mori. Is because you see, imagine how much different your life would be if every single day you reminded yourself that you're mortal, that you're going to die, that this might be your last day. And not in a, carpe diem way. Enjoy, let's all drink today for tomorrow is not guaranteed. But thinking it in a way, a better way of thinking it, I think, is more as a soldier going to war. That he doesn't know if he will come home tomorrow, so the last day, he kisses his wife, he spends time with the people that he loves, he takes care of things, knowing that he might not come home tomorrow. And by the way, my name is Nago Daniel, and I make videos about things that I'm interested in, share my thoughts on philosophy, on the lessons that I'm learning, things I'm reading about. And I also make videos on climbing, so hope you enjoy the content that I'm making. And if you have followed my channel for some time, you might have noticed that I do post a lot about that, I talk a lot about that, and there's a reason for that, really. Because first of all, I find it fascinating, and also I think that it's just great to remind ourselves of this fact more and more. I also have it on my wall. I've written on my wall on a piece of paper, Memento Mori, this Stoic idea. Memento Mori, I think it's in Latin, it means something like, remember that you're mortal, something like that. And I think the story of this Memento Mori is something like that. When the emperor came back from war or something like that, someone came back from war or something like that, something great happened, great victory, and that person was like put on this, how do you say that, the thing that the horses pull, you stand on it like that, I'm not sure, and you go through, the people went through Rome and everyone clapped and all of that, but at the same time, the emperor's servant, he was right behind him and he whispered in his ear, Memento Mori. At the peak of that moment, remember that you're mortal. So that's just an interesting story. And you see, when thinking about your own death, you realize just how easily you can get lost in everyday tasks and duties and all sorts of trivial stuff, and how easily, how we get angry over such a small stuff that doesn't really matter. How we waste time scrolling and all of that jazz. And you see, the thing is that although it can be scary, although it's mysterious, when contemplating our own death, it can bring us this sense of gratitude and this sense of calmness, almost. I mean, that's at least what I realized so far. And you see, here's another very interesting thing, is that when thinking about death, it leads to a question that, is this all serious? Is it all serious? When you go to the doctor and you ask him, doctor, is this serious? You see, I don't think that it's all that serious. The way I see it is that nature and the universe is essentially playful. That it's like a game. You see, the fun of the game is to get lost in it, to be absorbed in the game. Just in the same way how when you're playing a video game or when you're watching a play in the theater, the fun of it is to get lost in it, to think that it's for real. You see, it's when the actors it convinces you so much that you get this like kind of sense that is this for real? Is he acting? Even though in the back of your mind you know that it's just a play. That's the fun of it, to get lost in it. And you see, this is also the point of view of the Joker, this archetype of the Joker, you see. The Joker looks at all social institutions and life itself as a game. He looks through them and realizes that they are just a game, and that everything is just like a game. There's the game of the flowers, there's the game of trees, the game of humans. And when he sees, you see someone being very far out, being very lost in those games. You see the square people, you see, being lost and taking it all too seriously. He gets the giggles, you see. But he also has some certain kind of respect for them. The certain kind of respect for getting that lost in the game and playing that game. And you see, everyone is playing. The trees, there's the play of the trees, the play of the flowers, and the play of the humans with all our transportation and economics and all our complications, all that jazz. You see, that's the human game. But you see, the game, not in the sense that it's just a game, it's just a mere game, that it's trivial. You see, not every game is just a game. It's not every game is just trivial. You see, people play Shakespeare's plays in the theater, but that's not just a game. That's just a mere play. You see, just something trivial. Or when people play some great piece of music, they are playing, but it's not something trivial. It's not just a game. You see, it's something sincere. It's also not something like too serious. Playing it with your whole being, playing it with your heart. You see, this is the fun of the game, to get lost in the game sometimes, to be absorbed in the game sometimes, to be absorbed in the practical life, in the social life, in all sorts of social institutions, getting lost in the trivial tasks, wasting time scrolling, all of that jazz. That's the fun of it. But you see, also noticing at the same time that they are plays, that they are all games, you see. Not taking them too seriously. At the same time, seeing through them. So you see, you need this balance between the two. Because you see, if you get too involved in the game, you become stiff. You're taking it too seriously. It's just like when you're playing a game, some kind of table game, the cards or whatever. You see, when no one likes that person that takes the game too seriously. You see, when you take it too seriously and you think to yourself, oh, you see, I must win this game. And then you're scared that the game will end and it will all be over, and what happens if you don't win? You see, and you start sweating and you start getting angry at other players. You see, the person that takes the game too seriously is not a good player. But you see, if you go too far to the other side, everything could just get completely boring. You see, being completely uninvolved from everything. You see, it's like when you're in the theater and you go in there and you're thinking to yourself, come on now, none of this is all just made up. None of it is for real. You see, they're all just actors on the stage. They learn the script and they know it by heart. They play this 100 times before. If you have this in mind throughout the whole play, and that you see through it, that, oh, these are just actors on the stage, nothing really that interesting, none of these are for real, then it will be boring. I mean, what's the point of going to the theater then? So you see, The fun of it is to be absorbed in the play. See that the actors play so well that you somewhat begin to think and believe that it's actually for real, that it's actually happening, and you're sitting there at the edge of your seat. But still at the same time, in the back of your mind, you know that it's just a play. Somewhere back in there, you know that it's just a play, but yet at the same time, you're involved. You're absorbed in it. You see, you cry, you get scared, you laugh. And you see, it's just like this in life, that we're all actors. It's all a great play, but if everyone were to take off his mask, then nothing would happen. You see, absolutely nothing would happen. There would be no fun in it. And you see, this is also the Hindu view of the world. You see, the dramatic view of the world. They think that every one of us is a manifestation of the divine, of the Godhead, or whatever. And that it's the Brahman that's playing each one of us. You see, it's this great play of the divine. So you see, we need people who are far out, who are getting themselves involved in the game, being lost in the game. But also we need people who are far in, who see through the game, so that they can remind those people who are far out that, come on now, it's just a game. And have a little laugh. You just like the Memento Mori guy, whispering in that great victorious man's ears that Memento Mori, you're going to die. You're just mortal. You're just a mortal man. Because you see, you can't have people who are far in without also having people who are far out. And the other way around. They need each other. They depend on each other. They define each other. And just in the same way, getting back to the topic after getting off rails quite some, that just in the same way, life implies that life and death depend on each other. That it's like the two sides of the same coin. They do not exist without one another. The fact that you're alive implies death. And your death implies life. They can't exist without one another. And you see, when you have one of these opposites, explicitly they are as different can seem, but there's a hidden unity behind them. That's the secret. That implicitly they are in unity. That implicitly they cannot exist without one another, which means that they are one. This means that your death is only separable from your life in a conventional way. In reality, they go together. It's just like how we conventionally separate our heads from our breast of the bodies, or our neck from our heads. But in reality, they are all one organism. And you see also in reality, that is the most life-giving thing that there is. Because, think of a plastic flower, or an artificial flower. Yes, it will probably outlast humanity, but there's no life in it. It's dead, it's brittle, it's dry. You see, the real plants, it's the fact that they die that makes them alive. You see, life is always changing. Life is always something that is falling apart. See, but it's about going with the change. It's about not resisting the change of life, but flowing with it. And now, if you're interested more about that, I made a whole bunch of videos about that. I leave some of them in the description, some links to them in the description. And also, if you're interested more about this kind of stuff, this duality that we've been talking about here, that you can't have one without the other. I made a whole series on Taoism, and in one of those videos I talked about this for like 20-30 minutes. There's only this inseparability of things, this play of the opposites, that you can't have one without the other. If you're interested, you can check that out. I'll leave a link to it in the description. So thank you for being here. If you can leave some comments in the description, you see, if you have any thoughts or questions, or if you would like to add something to some of the things that I said here, please leave a comment. I'm excited to read those. And thank you for being here. If you're interested, I'm doing free one-on-one calls. You can send me an email in the description, and we can arrange a video call, and we can talk about whatever, have a chat. So if you're interested, email in the description. So thank you for being here. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day, and goodbye.